Hey guys, welcome to another commentary done by Diggity really fast. Before we dive into the 2-1 versus 2-1 side of the bracket, just wanted to show you what the results were. So ignore the left-hand side, the left-hand side of this table. That will be updated as soon as I'm finished with round 4, but we've moved out of the 1 and 2. You can see the winners and losers were through that. We're moving into the 2-1 versus 2-1 score. We're going to do Wizard versus Fischei first, then New Ocean versus Byagster, and then we'll finish it off, of course, with Yui and Gosifer. But let's go ahead and dive into the first game. Should be an exciting series. Bottom left-hand corner, we got Fischei starting as the light or olive green Protoss, if you prefer. Upper left-hand corner, we got Wizard starting as the pink Zerg. Very fashionable for Zerg. Very blends right in with the creep. Makes it a little bit harder to see the Zerglings potentially. Wonder if that's actually a side advantage. I digress. This is going to be on Metropolis, which... Sorry, my mistake. This is on Radion. I even have it on the scoreboard. I have no excuse. Overlord making its way top right-hand corner first. Radion, of course, a sizable macro map. Between these two, I think I am going to favor Fischei overall, but we will see. Wizard has gotten here too. I'm trying to remember who he... my brain is lapsing. I should do this before every game. I should go back and see who beat who as we're going through the scoreboard. But anyway, what I will say is Fischei is fairly strong versus Zerg, although I do feel like because of the leadership of Solkey and build orders and whatnot, and I don't think it's just maps. I think that there's just right now the meta is favoring Zerg a little bit, in particular because of the strength of Hydra busts and the threat. And Protoss really haven't... I feel like Protoss have figured out what they're doing versus Terran fairly effectively as far as upgrade Terran and kind of pushed it, and they're ahead in the meta there, but it feels like Zerg are ahead of a little bit in the meta versus Protoss, and the Protoss are still trying to figure out scouting information, whatnot, in the mid game. In the meantime, I think we're going to see I was about to say a Forge first opener with a double scout here from Fischei to make sure he is... just so he knows whether he can get down a Nexus first. On a 4-player map of this size, he should be able to drop the Nexus before cannon with the overpool and still be safe. Is going to... well, he sees the drone right there and should have recognition. Does Wizard readjust his course based on the positioning? There might even be an opportunity here from Fischei, not quite at the hatchery line. I was thinking he might have an opportunity to create some disruption there. Probe pulling out right this second. And Wizard making his way bottom left. It looks like he's going to end up with absolutely last scout. Probe making its way out. It is going to go ahead and drop that Nexus. And stay in position to drop that cannon. Let's see if the initial pair of Zerglings, a pair being 4 on this instance, because we've got 2 eggs hatching at 2 apiece, whether any of them dedicate towards... okay, it looks like 3 are breaking off with a drone. So a bit of an escort to the 9 o'clock location. That might be because of the other probe that's actually returning its way home. So a cannon has been placed. And we will see that we will need a probe blockade once this gateway's drop from Fischei, just to make sure those Zerglings aren't able to scoot through and get into the main, because there is a timing window here. So the probe should create a little bit of a block here as best as possible to give that cannon time to morph in. So it is able to do that, and still might... doesn't need to think about holding the line though, because Fischei's been keeping an eye. On occasion, you'll have Zerg be sneaking outside the hatchery and build Zerglings there, but he's gotten a good look and seen nothing but drones in the meantime. By the way, standard 9 o'clock base being constructed in the meantime. Assimilator up, pylon up. No cybernetics core as of yet. Fischei a little bit late on that pylon. Slight supply block right there, but natural expansion coming online. Pretty strong economic opener for both. And now the question is how well does Fischei keep that probe? It's just, I honestly feel like this is another aspect. This is the other bit that's really, with the current build order scope, it's very taxing on Protoss to make sure that this initial probe stays alive because of all the Hydralisk potential in the early stages of the match. So not only do you have to keep an eye here in the main, you're trying to keep it there until you see layer tech. By the way, layer tech morphing at the natural expansion. Fischei able to confirm it. Is he going to stick around? Looks like he is going to stick around regardless. The longer you can keep this around, the better. Initial Zealot is queued up, and Overlord is diving into the main. Go ahead and confirm that cybernetics score, by the way. No additional cannon, but we do have a quick second Yeah, second assimilator. So 2 gas rapidly from Fischei. And as much as I wanted, so previously when you saw the second gas, it suggested potential Corsair play, +1 weapons, Dark Templar. These days, honestly, it seems like it has become more of a staple from Protoss. And not only have I seen Fischei do it here, but a number of the other Protoss players have opted for a fast second gas, and rather than invest, they still continue to invest in Zealots, but rather, and by the way, +1 weapons, not finished, and Fischei is going to lose the probe on the lines here. But not only, but rather than going for Dark Templar, rather than going for +1 weapons, +1 weapon, or I should say air weapons, I need to be specific, although +1 air weapons is upgrading here. Many times they've opted instead, with the 2 Zealots, not going to go ahead and chase those Zerglings back, they opt instead, ooh, interesting here, Hidden Spire off the 3rd hatchery. So rather than building it in the main, building it at the natural expansion. That's a bit of an odd decision here from Wizard. Maybe wants to delay the Corsair, throw off the Corsair potentially. Is there going to be... I don't think the Corsair is going to be thrown off though, unless some Hydralisks are also planted down. 4th hatchery also dropping at the 9 o'clock rather than at the natural, which could be a calculated decision because it was Forge Gateway first. But this is also potentially going to leave that natural expansion a little bit... Never mind, another hatchery dropping right there. Okay, there we go. It's just usually this is the 1st hatchery for whatever reason. But we're going up to 5 hatchery to follow this up. And this might be 6... We'll see if a 6 gets dropped. This might be 6 hatchery Spire. As, yeah, we got the extractor being grabbed as well. Fischei able to spot it. He's got a spot of time before the Scourger initially fielded. Isn't going to be able to get a kill but at the near expansion, but might be... Well, might have been able to... Yeah, I think this is going to be 6 hatch Spire. 3 meat, we'll see it queued up already. We'll see if it turns into 6 or 5. The second gas, a big indicator of that. Looks like an Overlord is getting tacked away at the main. This is risky. He has this... Oh, Scourge just spawning. Is he going to be able to get out and going to get the last a couple shots? He's trying to micro his way around the Scourge. He's going to be able to get back to home base. But yeah, we got these 2 Overlords that are already moved top right. And that will allow the grouping for the Mutalisks. Looks like the Corsair that was originally hunting for... potentially this latent Overlord that made it all the way back home. Not able to find purchase. But getting back to the main point I wanted to make here is that quick second assimilator, rather than opting for double Stargate, +1 weapons, whatever, although that is the case here, we've seen players go for faster High Templar to utilize here. And I think he's hoping he caught Fischei off guard, but Fischei already has a cannon along his main. He does not have a cannon along that natural expansion that could open up a significant amount of damage at the natural expansion. He does have 4 Corsair, and +1 weapons is not far off finishing, however. And Corsair, especially once they hit the 5 mark, they do very, very well against Mutalisks. So this will be interesting. Do we have +1 armor? No, +1 armor is not being upgraded, by the way. We are seeing the Hydralisk Den and the shift back to ground forces here for Wizard, but Fischei, yeah, is going to take some damage here at the natural. Trying to draw out the Scourge, is able to draw out the Scourge, is forcing Wizard to fight over the cannon line. He did end up losing a couple units. That could have been a lot worse. Managed to get the Photon Cannon down in time. Wizard, seeing that Photon Cannon morphing, is going to go ahead and retreat with the Mutalisk force. That was a pretty significant dedication of gas, and Zealot leg speed is finished. I like the option of doing so, however, recognizing that Fischei was going to be theoretically, I want to say Zealot light, but here he's got a significant amount of Zealots. With the Forge first opener, the Mutalisks making their way back around. The Corsair now in 6 in number. The Mutalisks need to draw back, and honestly, this looks like a fairly sizable attack force for Fischei. The Mutalisks trying to chase these Zealots. The Scourge going to be swatted. The Corsair fanning out. Not quite able... It's kind of a bit of a problematic situation here with the Mutalisks drawing off the Corsairs. An Overlord getting sniped. That's going to put Wizard in the red. Fischei wanting to take out the Mutalisks. The Zealots making their way back across to keep the Hydralisks off them in no man's land, doing a great job of doing so. A huge amount of Hydralisks have been queued up. And I don't know that the Zealots got a lot done at the 9 o'clock location. A bit of a scattered attack here from Fischei, but I think it's still going to be successful. The Zealots take higher attack priority for the Hydralisks. In the meantime, a bunch of Overlords are getting annihilated. So Fischei taking very minimal damage on the Corsairs. The Zealot didn't get a lot. They killed a bunch of Hydralisks, it looks like, at the 9 o'clock. But the Overlord toll is significant here. An overbuild of Overlords from Wizard. Where are the over? That looks like at the natural, the hatchery that's sitting next to the Hydralisks. I think that might have been heads-up usage of Larva. Unfortunately, with the positioning here, he can just sit towards the high ground. Nice turnaround there by Fischei, and you can just see these doing a great job with these Corsair, just absolutely shredding everything. He's taking a little bit of damage. He's going to back off now that he's back down to 5 count. Now's a good time. Oh, going in for one more. Now's a good time to go ahead and back off and recharge those shields. And a Dark Templar making its way in, perfect timing, is going to be able to sneak its way all the way into the main. And I don't know if Wizard's any wiser. He has not backed up troops. I didn't even notice that Dark Templar making its way across. And is he going to get the... is he going to recognize? Does he have the... Right now, he's not noticing anything. Finally noticing. Dark Templar already has 4 kills. More trouble for Wizard. Fischei doing a great job. Looks like Hydralisks are still huddled around at that 9 o'clock location. Several Hydralisks making their way up to the main to try to deal with this Dark Templar. But the Dark Templar, well, is he going to fan out or is he going to... He looks like he's going to try to make a dive. Back to the natural expansion. Does get picked off on the rim, but definitely worth the effort at that stage. In the meantime, taking a look at the gateway count back at the main. We've got 5 gateways being paired with another 3 to bring the total up to 8, as is typical at this stage of the match. Dragoon range being queued up, the robotics facility already in place. There's the aforementioned High Templar. So we had a handful of High Templar and a single Dark Templar. The Corsair also making the way across to continue active scouting. They're going to find a drone that's trying to make its way up to the 12 o'clock. Overlord, by the way, still in the bottom, top right-hand corner, which is potentially vulnerable to Wizard. I don't know if Fischei is going to venture out that far. A single Zealot trying to rush up to the 12 o'clock location. Hydralisks looking for a cutoff route. They want to... We do have Lurker Tech morphed, by the way, in the midst of this, so I think they want to try to get maybe a soft contain. The Zealot making its way across isn't going to be able to engage. Fischei diving back into the main. Only a single Hydralisk here, so that might be a dead Overlord, but just checking out the drone saturation right this second. Another Corsair is picked off in the meantime, and it looks like there's still plenty of defense. So Wizard's been pinned back, and Fischei being able to get 2. I was about to say I don't know if this would be worth it, but got 2 additional Overlords in the midst of this. Hatchery dropped 12 o'clock location, no third up as of yet. Wizard looking to deny that, but Fischei starting to move out on the map, and this isn't much of a Hydralisk force unless it picks off these High Templar as they're moving out to the rally point. Might have an opportunity to do just that. You can see Fischei trying to reposition. 1 High Templar picked off. Psystorm dodged, 2nd High Templar picked off. Well worth it for that amount of Hydralisks. Another Hydralisk trailing late. It's going to get taken out. So Fischei a little bit slow on grabbing his 3rd in comparison to Wizard's 4th. But he has a significant supply lead. He potentially can move up and take out the 12 o'clock, depending on the positioning of the High Templar. If the High Templar get to the high ground first, that's a potentially winnable scenario, but we have more Hydralisks for Wizard mid-map, looking to pick off more High Templar. This time meeting some Psystorm along the way, but at least able to confirm position. You can see Fischei trying to regather the attack force. A probe in the midst of this. That's odd positioning. Regathering, let's see if he's... This is not much of a Hydralisk attack force, and that's also potential Psystorm bait. Fischei being very, very patient with the Psystorm he has available, though. Waiting for the Hydralisk to commit. Wizard trying to dodge a little bit. Dragoon's getting free damage. The Observer picked off, but I don't know that there are no Lurkers behind this, so I don't think it matters. And Fischei pressing forward. The High Templar on the forward edge, so getting picked off, but without the energy, I guess Fischei not all that concerned. A probe on the forward attack line. I like the feisty probe. The 1 Lurker that was there has been taken out, and Fischei just wreaking havoc right now. Smelling blood in the water. Completely wiping out the troops of Wizard. I think if Wizard's troops were concentrated and attacking from multiple angles, they might have won, but instead they're coming in piecemeal, and Fischei is making mincemeat of them. Finally concentrating an attack right there, and the Dragoon's doing all sorts of damage. Fischei just reinforcing to the natural expansion. And at this stage, he has a sufficient army to potentially just roll through what Wizard has remaining. Psystorm to open up a bit of the gap. That Sunken Colony is the only defense right here, aside from a few Hydralisks that are dying as they're trying to move into the front. The Zealots right on top of that, making short work of that Sunken Colony, and the natural expansion completely breached. A wall of Dragoons boxing out reinforcements, and on top of that, Fischei has expanded and got mining at that 9 o'clock. Zealot's having an absolute feast here at the natural expansion. This is game. Yeah, Wizard GG's right there. Fischei takes game 1 handily, and we will move on to game 2. Great play from him. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for listening.